I'm Tové, your pot's bestie, and this is Friday Fables, where stories and science meet with a spoonful of sparkle. If you're living with chronic illness, dysautonomia, or just need a moment of magic and meaning, you're in the right place. Now get cozy and let's dive into today's tale. The town with too many alarms. Once upon a time, nestled between two mountains and surrounded by whispering woods, there was a town called Virelle. It was a beautiful place, full of lavender fields, laughing fountains, and sun-dappled squares. But life there wasn't peaceful. Not because of bandits, not because of monsters, but because of alarms. You see, in Virelle, every home came with its own alarm system. Not just for safety, but for everything. If the wind blew too strong, an alarm would go off. If a leaf dropped from a tree, another alarm. If a candle flickered too fast, another alarm would go off. The alarms were everywhere, in homes, in shops, even in the mayor's office, and they never turned off. At first, the townspeople tried to ignore them, but the longer they lived with the noise, the more tense and jittery they became. Their shoulders stayed high, their jaws clenched, they couldn't sleep, they couldn't think, they were constantly reacting, never resting. Doctors came and shook their heads. Engineers tried to fix the alarms, but they couldn't find the cause. Eventually, the people started to believe, maybe this is just how our town is, maybe it's us. Until one day, a traveler arrived. Her name was Alara. She was quiet, calm, and carried no bags, just a small woven satchel and a walking stick carved with stars. When she entered Virelle, the alarm shrieked like usual, trying to warn her of danger that wasn't there. But Alara didn't flinch. She simply closed her eyes, placed a hand over her heart, and breathed deeply. The townspeople watched, confused. "Why aren't you reacting?" they asked. "Aren't you worried? Don't you hear the alarms?" Alara nodded. "I do, but I've lived in towns like this before. The alarms aren't broken, they're just sensitive. Your systems are working overtime, always ready to protect, but they've forgotten how to stand down." She explained that sometimes bodies do this too. They mistake harmless things like standing up, eating a meal, or feeling a strong emotion as emergencies. The heart races, palms sweat, thoughts scatter, muscles tighten, all because the body thinks it's under attack, when really it's just Tuesday. "It's not your fault," she said gently, "but it is something you can learn to work with." So Alara stayed for a while and slowly began teaching the people of Virelle how to reset their systems. She didn't bring machines or medicines, just tools of regulation. She taught them grounding rituals, walking barefoot in the grass, holding a warm cup with both hands, noticing 5 things they could see, 4 they could touch, 3 they could hear, and so on. She taught breathing techniques, in for 4, hold for 4, out for 6, slowing down the rhythm so the alarms didn't get triggered so quickly. She taught them how to reset before the panic, instead of always reacting afterwards, how to speak gently to themselves when the alarms blared, how to listen to their bodies without judgment. Not overnight, but slowly things began to change. The alarms still rang, now and then, but they weren't so loud, and more importantly, the townspeople weren't afraid of them anymore. They could hear the warning bell and say, "Ah, yes, my body's just being overprotective again," and go sit in the sun until it passed. They began to sleep better, laugh more, live more. And Virelle became known not as the town with too many alarms, but the town that learned to listen and soothe. Because the nervous system isn't the enemy, it just sometimes needs to be reminded, you're safe now. Thanks for listening to this week's Friday Fable. If your inner alarms are ringing a little too often lately, just remember, you're not broken, you're learning, and there are gentle ways to come back to the calm. If the story brought you a little peace or perspective, share it with a friend or leave some love wherever you're listening. Until next time, stay sparkly.